Hey everyone, this is Dave. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a good week. Today, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the latest trades and moves I've made in the stock market because I do like to keep you guys updated on what I'm doing, and also some very exciting news to share, at least for me personally. Maybe you guys don't care, but me and the wife did put in an offer on a new house and it was accepted, so we will be moving in the spring to a full house. She's extremely ecstatic about it. I am very excited as well. And seeing as how I am buying a house, I figured maybe today is the time to roll back the curtain a little bit on what I have done and been doing on the real estate side of things, because I do have an interesting story to share with you all in terms of my real estate investing journey, which is obviously continuing as I'm purchasing a new home. Now, I understand this is a little bit off topic for the channel, so a lot of you guys may not be interested, and if not, that's completely fine. You can tune out about halfway through the video after I talk to you about my stock sales and that kind of thing. But if you've been following along for a while, maybe you'll think it's kind of cool as well. Before we dive into all that, I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already, because every new subscriber helps out so much. And if you are already a subscriber, thanks for the continued support, and I will check out your comments down below. All right, let's dive into this week's investing updates. Okay, so first of all, as I mentioned in the intro, yes, we are buying a new home and very excited about that. Celebrate and all that good stuff. Of course, it's very expensive where I live buying houses, so very big purchase for me. Jealous of some people I see in like southern US states and stuff like that. You can see them buying houses for like $300,000. Where I live near Toronto, you're looking over $1 million even in the suburbs for modestly sized houses. So it's pretty tough for us in Canada, at least in the big city here, but very excited to have made this purchase. So since I like to keep you guys up to date on my trades, I figured I'd tell you basically some sales I've made recently to put some money together for the down payment. So first of all, I did just recently sell a bunch of my ZCN. Now, this is just a Canadian index fund. I tend to want to move away from the Canadian funds into the American funds because I just like the American markets better. So figured like this was a good opportunity to make some of those sales and raise about, let's see, 3,000, 16,000 there. So probably about $21,000 Canadian, keep in mind, which is very different than American of Canadian index funds. Next up, a bunch of sales. I don't know why the broker divides these up into so many different small chunks, but basically I did end up having to sell some Rocket Lab, divided up into several different purchases, as well as I sold my Airbnb. That stock has really just done nothing for me in several years, and I've decided, you know what? I have higher conviction plays that I know more about. Let's just unload this company. I liked the idea and the business model behind Airbnb, but for whatever reason, it hasn't really worked out for me and I needed some cash. So if you round up this group of sales, we had about $11,600 in Rocket Lab, $11,300 in Airbnb, and 24,000 Canadian in index funds that I was putting towards that down payment. Now, just because I had the offer accepted doesn't mean I need the full down payment right now. I could have waited a few months, but I think that would be incredibly risky on a short-term basis. You never know if you have a stock market crash, some kind of black swan event. The markets in general seem fairly high right now. Obviously, Tesla, Rocket Lab, my two largest positions, are doing incredibly well right now. So I figured, let's be safe. Let's just take some gains now while the markets are high. And if we do have a crash in the next couple of months, I won't have to worry about making sales after that crash. Of course, that means I could lose out on upside if they continue to go up over the next couple months. But I think this is a prudent move that just makes a lot of sense given where the markets are right now. You may disagree with that. Let me know what you think about that down below. So zooming a little further out over the past 3 months, you can see that I have made significant amounts of sales. I've kind of updated you guys on some of these as I've gone through, but index funds, sold some through a bunch of these trades. I raised about $150,000 Canadian. Further back, I did tell you guys about these previously, some options trades I made. Small one here for Intuitive Machines. I put $1,600 into it and got $3,500-ish back. So that was a good win. Rocket Lab, this was my big probably biggest options trade win ever, and kicking myself, of course, for not putting more into these long-term Rocket Lab options. But I put about $1,000 cost basis into Rocket Lab call options, sold them back in December for $20,300. So yeah, made $19,245 in profit off that trade. One of the best trades I've ever made, being honest. Very proud of it, but just wish I'd put more cash into it. Interestingly enough, as I made these sales, something I never really expected to happen started to creep into my brain. And that is the YouTube factor. As I start to care more about the YouTube channel and you guys watching, I start to think, oh man, we've got Rocket Lab fans on the channel. Maybe there's some Tesla fans out there. What are they going to think if they see me selling shares? Is it bad for the channel if I sell shares? And I quickly basically knocked that out of my brain. So yes, as you saw previously, I sold some Rocket Lab shares at 29 point something. And what I've decided is basically if I ever end up making stock and investment decisions based on what I think the reaction is in my YouTube channel, whether that will lead to more views, more subscribers, less subscribers, that's probably the time where I should really stop making YouTube videos, because you need to make these decisions based on what's the best investment move, not how I think people out there on the internet watching will react and whether some of them will unsubscribe. So YouTube factor starting to come into play, but I feel like I've pretty well locked that down. And if anyone's upset about the shares I sold to buy a house, so be it. I feel like this is the whole reason we invest in the first place, to get a new home for your family and, make a better life from your family. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a massive mission achieved, and those shares actually did their job. Remember, we're all going to die one day, and having the biggest number on your bank account when you die doesn't really help you out that much either. So we do need to use it at some point. So if anyone wants to subscribe, go right ahead. Since I'm buying a new house, I figured today might be an interesting time to kind of reveal and share my real estate investing journey, which I've never really talked much about on the channel and has actually been a lot bigger part of my life than you may expect. So back probably 6-7 years ago, I was looking to buy a place downtown. I was originally thinking condo because, of course, I couldn't afford a house in the city. My brother was in a similar situation, and we were like, well, we could just buy a house and renovate it ourselves. We could have separate units on each floor, make it separate apartments. We'd have a basement and be able to rent that out, as opposed to each buying our own condo, be stuck paying condo fees, not really having control over our own property, our own land, and our own decision making on, when we want to replace a roof or do maintenance or whatever. Condo corporations take a lot of that control away from you. So we dove in, foolishly or bravely or whatever you want to call it, to buying a house that looked like a real fixer-upper. And once we started taking off, it wasn't even drywall, it was basically plaster because it was so old. It was built in like 1890s, I believe. Things were much worse than we expected on the inside of the house. So a few pictures here to share of basically the demolition process. This was our basement when we were smashing it all down, because to be honest, some of the contractors who we brought in said it was a miracle. Like the house hadn't even fallen down on itself by that point. It was in really rough shape. We did do the majority of the work on the house ourselves, and I learned quite a lot through this whole process. And I do think we added a ton of value to the house, but it was one hell of an ordeal. It took years to complete, so much work. It really took over our lives in a lot of ways. Now I do tend to think it was all worth it, but yeah, very tough. And if you're considering doing a complete gut job and reno, just know what you're getting into, because it's a big job. So this picture from the basement, this picture from the main floor, tearing things out. A lot of the wood was completely rotten and had a ton of termite damage, and we had to replace basically all the structural studs and yeah, just basically rebuilding the entire structure from the inside. Here's one of me in what will eventually become my apartment that you've all seen me make videos from in the loft upstairs. Clearly a little bit rough at this point. Me and the future wife working on the demolition and tearing down these walls. Me completely covered in dust. This was my brother. I wasn't sure if he'd care if I shared his face on the internet to strangers, so I cut it out. But yeah, the two of us doing the demo work and covered in soot and dust and basically all sorts of grossness as we tore down what was left of this house. The insides, this was actually supposedly a load-bearing stud at one point. There was really nothing left of it but termite damage. So really, yeah, in bad shape. But the finished product did turn out pretty well after years of work. I'm going to share with you guys now a quick video I made showing off the finished product when it was complete. Enough to get by. There's my door. There's Alina. I'm going to frost the door so you can't see through. Put in a fancy combo, but you better look away so you can't see my code. There we go. All right, here we are, guys. All new hardwood floors. They're solid maple. And this is the main area. So yeah, clearly very different, a lot more open now. Wanted to go for more of an open concept feel for sure. Front window still the same. This bathroom is all redone. It was a lot of work doing. Up above, just because the space was there, I decided to put in some storage, which you obviously need a little ladder to get to, which I have. And yeah, by the way, I guess as you can tell, we opened up the ceiling. No more attic anymore. So that was a big structural job we had some contractors help with. Decided to reuse this wood. We recovered it from the exterior of the house. It was original to when the house was made back in the 1890s. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to put a layer of varathane over it. It's not stained at all, just varathaned. And see if I could reuse it for a little feature wall. So I have my fireplace here. It can actually create heat if you want, which is nice. And this is a brand new stacked laundry machine we got and installed. It's all working well. Went for an island with a couple stools. Just I don't know, I always like islands. Solid quartz countertops. These were from a custom contractor, not from IKEA. The cabinets were from IKEA though, and all new appliances, so new oven, microwave, and fridge. Definitely way more functional than the old kitchen, a lot more storage, a lot more space. This backsplash we did ourselves was a lot of work to grout and everything. TV area, as we saw. Oh, and I put some speakers in the ceiling up here near the sofa. Since we had it opened up anyway, I thought, why not run the wires? Have a sound system over there that the TV's hooked into. You could use it for karaoke. Not that I would do that, but it has the connections. Yeah, we put some skylights right above the kitchen area and the island. It's a bit of an overcast day today, but when it's a sunny day, it's super bright. Get a lot of natural light. It's always nice. We have another little overhead storage area just because the space was there, so why not? Here's a bedroom. It used to be the kitchen, obviously, so I'm fine with it. Probably going to put a desk or some more furniture in here, maybe some more clothing storage above the radiator. Just a cabinet for clothes. Put in a second bathroom here, actually. Little ensuite for the master bedroom.
Make sure you zoom in on the silicone so they can see my skills.
Which over here?
The bathroom.
Oh my gosh, okay. Alina says I need to zoom in on this siliconing on the corners here because apparently it's perfect and it was all her work. So there you go.
Done by a professional. I need to market my skills.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Lena picked out all the tiles for this bathroom and the vanity and the medicine cabinet as well. Say hi, Alina.
Hi.
It was pretty much as small a space as we could fit a full bathroom into. Just a lot of the decisions were about maximizing the space. And we still need to do some more decorating, still need some more furniture. But I think you guys get the gist of the place. Okay, so yeah, that video was from just my apartment, which is the upper floor. And I've made some changes to it since then as well, but you get the idea. We did also finish off the basement and the main floor. So my brother has the main floor, the basement we're renting out and splitting that rental income, really helping out with the mortgage. And now that I am going to be buying a house with my wife and moving a little bit out of the city, the plan is to actually keep this house as a investment and a rental income property, because to be honest with you, I would not want to sell it after so much work went into it. I kind of love this place now and would like to hold on to it. I think especially when you're talking about houses in the city, they really only go up in value. The great thing about real estate that I've mentioned before is that you can get access to a ton of relatively cheap, relatively safe leverage. So obviously the bank still owns, a lot of this house because we owe them money through a mortgage, but we'll get the appreciation on the full value of the house over time. And what I'm looking at for market rates after all this work we've put into it is when you take into account the basement and the rent I'll get from the upper floor, it should pay for itself plus pay me like $1,000 Canadian a month, hopefully. So it will be a, cash flow positive income generating property and will really help out with the mortgage on the new place. And obviously that'll start to get appreciation on the top line value of the new home as well, even though I owe a lot of money to the bank in mortgage. So that leverage does come into play a lot in real estate, although there are a lot of good reasons to go for stocks and not just real estate. So I'm kind of doing both here. The new house does have a kitchen in the basement, meaning I could, and it also has a separate entrance to the basement, meaning I could rent out the basement if I want and probably get another $2,000 or so a month on that, which would really help out with the mortgage on the new place as well. I'm thinking about doing that. We do kind of like our privacy. The top floor is quite large, though, in terms of the main floor and the upstairs. So plenty of space right now for two people. Maybe I'll rent out the basement until we start having kids. And at that point, get rid of a tenant so we have the full home to ourselves and a bit more privacy and all that. But it could potentially help out a bit on the short term. So if I did that, I'd be looking at basically 2.5 rental units I would be managing, the half of the basement, my top floor unit in the current home, and a basement unit in the new home. So quickly moving into landlord territory there, as well as stock investor, and trying to take advantage of what real estate can offer as well as what the stock markets can offer. Luckily, my portfolio on the stock side has done well enough that I'm able to put down a down payment on this new house while still owning the old house and not having to sell it. So a great position to be in, I think. And just maybe a side of my investment journey that you guys have never seen before. And if you've been following me for a while, maybe you'll find that interesting as well. The other benefit I will say, though, to going through that whole process of home renovation is before I wasn't particularly handy, but now I have sure as hell learned a lot about, framing, plumbing, carpentry, a little bit of electrical, installing pot lights, all flooring, drywalling, all sorts of things. So hopefully I can take those skills going forward and be a little bit more of a handyman as well around the house. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be signing up for another complete gut job and complete reno because it was incredibly long, incredibly painful. The permits are really frustrating to deal with. And yeah, it's just incredibly tough. So do know that if you're considering going into a similar home reno type situation. So that's it for today. Pretty excited that I'm buying the new house. A little bummed that I had to sell some shares in Rocket Lab, Tesla, and my index funds. But overall, I think, this was the goal from the get-go. So achieving your goals, you should never be too sad about, and the numbers in the bank account will go up and down. I do plan and hope to be able to re-add to my Rocket Lab position at some point, get fully back up to 15,000 shares. I should clarify here, guys, I still have a very significant position in Rocket Lab. That was a relatively small amount of my shares I sold compared to the total. I was sitting around 15,000, a little over, I believe, and now I'm probably, 14,000 something. So still a very strong amount of shares, and Rocket Lab still probably my largest position in my portfolio, and will look for a dip to buy more. I don't really want to buy right now, even if I do have a few shares. Just being completely honest, I would look for a pullback before buying at these levels. That's me personally, though. Of course, you all do your own research and decide what price you want to pay for shares yourself in your own situation. Hope you found this interesting. Please do let me know how you've been doing on the markets, whether real estate or stock market, over the past several weeks. Always interested to hear your stories as well. Don't be shy about sharing any new investment ideas as well down below. Give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be very much appreciated. And I hope you have a great week. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.